Welcome back, beautiful, beloved souls. Have I been down rabbit holes? After I did Daniel Nemes yesterday and found a few photos and made a PowerPoint, I have decided to do a part 2, tracking the Real Daniel Nemes science myth and the 2018 disappearance. Now, when we get to a certain slides, I will need to read quite a bit of information, so please stay with me. So, as you remember, Daniel Nemes looks like this. Apparently, he was supposedly working at CERN and developed the energy vision. This is just a revision of the PowerPoint that I did yesterday. Let's look at the findings from that PowerPoint that I did yesterday. There's no verified link to CERN, no academic papers, and a real Daniel Nemes who studied physics at Yale, and a separate Dr. Daniel Nemes involved in a patent for cancer. There's no verification of an energy vision invention. So, who was the Spanish-speaking Daniel Nemes, said to have vanished in 2018? Were there two people, one identity, just borrowed to give story scientific weight? Now, what I did find was a Daniel B. Nemes, but spelt Neems, and he has academic records, publications, and a current career path at STAR. And then there's the Dr. Daniel Nemes, who has a patent. The other Daniel Nemes, which I felt as I've gone down this rabbit hole, his name is actually spelt Nemes, is a paranormal inventor, and he appears only in fringe blogs, posts in Spanish, and there's no trace in other institutionalized database after 2018. So I went on the internet, and you can look up people. So Daniel Nemes was said to have vanished in 2018. And if you go to this website called Wayback Machine, and that's what I put, Wayback Machine 2017 to 2019, there's the web address, and I checked to see all different spellings. So here's the screenshot. There's no result for spelling of Nemes, Neems, but over 40 for Nemes, but none of them talked about a CERN employee or anything, a scientist at all. I then went to the United States Trade and Patent Office, searching for different names, spelling different spellings, and also for energy vision and energy vision. I'll let you look at the website details for a moment. Here is a screenshot. No result, spelling with Neems. So I spelt it for Nemes. And there were 2 patterns, but I went to the patterns and there was nothing. It was just a load of information. They weren't actually patent. You can go there yourself and put in Nemes, Daniel Nemes. So I put in the actual patent, energy vision, no results found. There it is again. I changed the name to thinking maybe if he's Spanish, it's spelt differently, but no results found. This again was taken from Facebook, and we're going to get into Facebook very soon. So yeah, this was Facebook, and when we get on those slides, I will be reading the information about Facebook. So here we are. This is, I put in the spelling for Daniel Nemes and went to this website, and there's the Wayback Machine website where I did actually put in Facebook album. So I had gone to Facebook and I found an album of that number, so I went back to Wayback Machine and put it in there, and there's no results found. So this was the actual post I found. Scientist creates a chamber that captures interdimensional beings. His name is Daniel Nemes. He is Spanish, but has been living in Colombia for several years. He is totally empirical and self-taught scientist. A few years or something which ensures Daniel can capture interdimensional beings. I had to translate this from memory. I think it was in Spanish, and I translated it to English. This is where the earliest post, or one of an early posts. So I'll let you look at the Facebook, and then I followed this Facebook trail to the earliest posts about Daniel Nemes, and it was late in 2024. And I'm going to read what these slides suggest. It was a late origin, 2024, and if the first known post is that recent, then the idea that Nemes worked at CERN years ago and vanished in 2018 doesn't line up chronologically. Also, a language cue is Spanish. Patrocio, and I hope I'm pronouncing that because that's the earliest I could find on Facebook. Patrocio sounds like a pseudonym, possibly from Patrina. I'm not pronouncing that right. I'll spell it P-A-T-R-A-N with a little umla on top, A, which means Spanish for hosts. The Spanish language framing might have made it easier to blend cultural myth with pseudoscience. So I'm just showing you a screen capture of end of results for Facebook. recycled imagery. It's possible Patri Sao repurposed older AI-generated or edited images and attributed them retroactively to a fictional scientist. Part 4 is the dark matter hook. Mentioning dark matter and interdimensional beings gives scientific flavour, but has no connection to verified CERN projects. And the name variation. Neems, N-E-M-E-S, versus N-E-E-M-S. The spelling difference often signals a translation or deliberate obfuscation to make fact-checking harder. So, here is original Facebook and the different timelines, but we'll get into it. So the earliest on Facebook Daniel Nemes story I couldn't find was from CERN, but as I said, I've gone down a rabbit hole. I didn't even find a scientific journal, and you're going to get a shock what I did find. And because I can't speak Spanish, the original story is Spanish, not scientific, and he is described as an amateur astrophysicist. But it gets deeper and darker as we get on, and it shows the project was personal, spiritual, artistic, not a CERN level experiment. So I went to Instagram and I found an earlier post of the 14th of April 2023. And this is that post, but it gets even deeper. The earliest Instagram is the 27th of August 2021. And he turns out to be an amateur astrophysicist. But it gets deeper. So, in 2013 was the year Neems allegedly invents energy vision camera. 2021, it's found in Instagram, and it's the first verifiable post that Neems is a Spaniard in Colombia, an amateur astrophysicist. Then 2024, Facebook. 2025, we get in English the full story, but it is monetized. And this is a screenshot of that monetized story, a UFO. So you had to be able to log in. I showed you this in PowerPoint, the first PowerPoint I did. So I went to another website that I'd also shown you yesterday in my first PowerPoint, and that's easternsierra.com, and I screenshotted Neems, N-E-M-S, Faces in the Darkness, the eerie photos of Daniel Nemes. And remember I said yesterday when I showed you this that the article told you to do your own investigation, and it came from a very cynical, is my terming, very cynical. All right. So I've been like down a rabbit hole. I found in medium.com a article on energy vision, a mysterious device invented by Dr. Daniel Nemes. See how they've already given him a title when we've just learnt before that he's an amateur astrophysicist, self-taught. But already he's been given titles. So other sources online that you can visit, and I'll just be quiet so you can have a read, but that also dates back to the 4th of the 8th, 2024. Again, it is in a foreign language. Spanish. I can't speak Spanish. All right. I'll give you a few more seconds because you might want to copy this website so you can see that I have really put in a lot of effort and research, and we'll talk about that at the end. So that website said that he spent 22 years in the city of Cali, and he's a member of the Madrid Astronomy Society. Daniel Nemes is a scientist and comes from another world, or captures. I haven't completely been able to capture the whole thing in the slide, but apparently this article says that he used a infrared and ultraviolet vision to use and capture these entities. All right, let's continue. Here's red flags. So some Steemit repost pages say he was a member of the Astronomical Group of Madrid, Spain. A Facebook post in Spanish claims, and I can't pronounce that, member of the Astronomical Group of Madrid, and a blog called Infinity Explorers includes that same claim in energy vision, and it does so without reproving the claim. Give you a minute to read my PowerPoint. Okay. So I went to this astronomy group, and here is the website. The group was established, from my understanding, 1974, and just for interest, that was the year I started high school. 1974, I was 13. So I won't even try to pronounce that Spanish, but there's the website for you guys, https://www.aam.org.es/. Here is a screenshot of what it looks like, so you can see it's all in Spanish. So I entered the name Daniel Nemes, Neems, no results. So let's look at the claim. The claim check Madrid Astronomical Group membership. Many sources say Daniel Nemes was a member of the Madrid Astronomical Group, and I searched, no result. Here's a different spelling, no result, so I put in different spellings. So I went also to LinkedIn. Now LinkedIn is for all professionals, and just in case you think, okay Jem, you live in Australia, you're not going to find someone who lives on the other side of the world. I found David Politis, who lives in America. So yeah, if you're a professional, usually you'd be in LinkedIn. So what does this all mean? I believe a hoax. Maybe there is a Daniel Nemes, but he is not a scientist, nor is he a doctor, nor did he ever work on CERN, C-E-R-N. The earliest mention of Daniel Nemes is 2013. And I also just want to let you know before I go that on that search engine of the Madrid Astronomy Group, I also typed in energy vision and it came up with no results. So, is there a device called energy division, or is this man real? First, I could find no corroboration that there is a Dr. Daniel Nemes that is an amateur astrophysicist, that there's a photo of him, so he's come from somewhere. I could find no other credible scientific journals that talked about the discovery of a device that could capture interdimensional beings or aliens. And I just need to go back to something that post that was on Facebook, and I'll spell the name for you. The earliest recording on Facebook that was posted was by Patria, P-A-T-R-A, second name C-E-O, and thinking that it could be itself a hoax, that name itself. So the original stories all are in Spanish, not scientific. He was described as a Spaniard living in Colombia, described as an amateur astrophysicist, not a professional. Energy vision was claimed to exist since 2013, but the first public posts appear in 2021. No mention of CERN or Yale. Those claims were added later by YouTubers and other content creators seeking to sensationalize the story. And before I end, I'll tell you myth-building keywords: dark beings, radiant light, angels, demons, Carillion photography are all classic New Age and paranormal imagery, giving it that viral hook. And the cultural origin: Spanish-speaking circles in Colombia and Spain were the first to share these images. English conspiracy and UFO pages amplified them years later. So, please drop a comment. I have really put a lot of effort into proving that it's a hoax. But like I said, they got the photo of this guy from somewhere. So, who do you think Daniel Nemes is? Just some random person doing Carillion photography? Or, like I suggested yesterday, it's like a Rorschach, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Rorschach experiment, where you see case of pareidolia, you see things, patterns and faces. I want to thank every person who stayed this far for watching, and I also please don't misunderstand, I am not trying to put other people down who have stated that this Daniel Nemes exists and that he really worked at CERN and he captured using dark matter. When you sensationalize a story, you always have to check your sources. And like I did in the first PowerPoint yesterday, I showed pictures of other Daniel Nemes, and I also went to CERN. No, he doesn't exist. So it makes me really annoyed when people invent stuff for views and clicks. I think, unfortunately, because I believe it's a hoax, that I'm not going to get those views, because if I hadn't have done the research and the work and said, yes, Daniel Nemes really did work at CERN, and yes, he captured interdimensional beings, I probably would get thousands of people flocking. But no, I will keep authentic and telling the truth. And as I said, I put in a lot of hours going everywhere, yesterday and today, with both PowerPoints. Please drop a comment and let me know if you have any more information yourself on Daniel Nemes. If you have found more than me, I welcome that. Thank you. Take care of yourselves and each other. Love, light, and blessings. Bye.